Thank you, dear Kasim Jamart Kamelovich, dear friends, colleagues. I welcome the participants and guests of the Jubilee 25th St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. It takes place in a difficult time for the entire world community, when the economy, markets, and the very principles of the global economic system are under attack. Many trade, production, logistical ties disrupted by the pandemic are now undergoing new tests. Moreover, key concepts for conducting business such as reputation, property rights, and trust in world currencies have been thoroughly ruined to our regret by our partners in the West. And this was done intentionally, for the sake of ambition, in the name of preserving outdated geopolitical illusions. Today I will outline when I say our, I mean the Russian leadership, my view of the situation in which the global economy finds itself. I will explore in detail on how Russia acts in these conditions and how it plans its development in a dynamically changing environment. A year and a half ago, speaking at the Davos Forum, I underlined that the era of the unipolar world order has expired. I want to start with this here. There is no escaping it. It expired, despite all attempts to preserve it by any means. Change is a natural course of history, since the diversity of the planet, the wealth of its cultures, is difficult to combine with political, economic, and other templates. They do not fit. Templates that are coarsely assigned from one center without alternative. The flaw lies in the very idea that there is but one strong power with a certain number of states close to it, or as they say, admitted into it, and all the norms of business and international relations, when necessary, are interpreted solely in the interests of this power, as they say, work in one direction. The game is played with a single goalpost. The world based on such dogmas is very unstable. The United States, proclaiming victory in the Cold War, declared itself messenger of the God here on earth, without obligations but only interests, and these interests are declared sacred. They don't seem to notice that new powerful centers have formed on the planet in recent decades and are asserting themselves. Each of them developed its own political system and social institutions, implemented its own models of economic growth, and, of course, has the right to protect them, to ensure national sovereignty. We speak of objective processes, truly revolutionary, tectonic changes in geopolitics, global economy, in the technological sphere, in the sphere of international relations, where the roles of dynamic, high potential states and regions increase significantly, whose interests are impossible to ignore. I repeat, these changes are fundamental, revolutionary, and inexorable. And it is a mistake to believe that the time of rapid change can be waited out, that everything will return to normal, everything will be as before. It will not. However, it seems that the ruling elites of certain Western states live in this kind of illusion. They don't want to notice obvious things, but stubbornly cling to past's shadows. For example, it is believed that the dominance of the West in global politics and economy is a constant, the eternal norm. Nothing lasts for eternity. And our colleagues do not simply deny reality. They're trying to counter the course of history. They think in terms of last century. They're imprisoned by their own misconceptions about countries outside the so-called golden billion and consider everything else as a periphery, their backyard, and still treat it as a colony, and the people living there as second-class people because they themselves are exceptional. If they are exceptional, then everyone else is second grade. Hence the irrepressible desire to punish, to economically crush the one who breaks ranks, does not wish to obey. Moreover, they coarsely and shamelessly impose their ethics, views on culture, and ideas about history, and sometimes question the sovereignty and integrity of states, threatening their existence. It's enough to recall the fate of Yugoslavia and Syria, Libya, and Iraq. If some rebels can be bullied and subdued, they try to isolate him, or as they say now, cancel. Toward this end, everything is used, even sports, the Olympic movement, the ban on culture, masterpieces of art, the only reason that their authors are of the wrong birth. It is the nature of current spasms of Russophobia in the West and crass sanctions against Russia. Crass, and I would say thoughtless. Their numbers, as well as the speed of stamping, are unprecedented. The calculation was very clear. Snarling, with haste attack the Russian economy by destroying business chains, forcibly withdrawing Western companies from the Russian market, freezing domestic assets to hit industry, finance, and people's living standards. We will normalize the economic situation step by step. Initially, financial markets, the banking system, and the trading networks were stabilized. Then we began to saturate the economy with liquidity and working capital to preserve the sustainability of enterprises and companies, employment and jobs. Dark forecasts about the prospects of the Russian economy, which had been sounded in early spring, did not come true. At the same time, it is clear why this propaganda campaign was fanned, where all these hexes came from, about the dollar for 200 rubles, and the collapse of our economy as a whole. All this was and remains an instrument of information war, a vector of psychological impact on Russian society, on domestic business circles. By the way, some of our own experts have succumbed to these external pressures, and their forecasts also proceeded from the imminent collapse of the Russian economy and the critical weakening of the national currency, the ruble. Life has denied such predictions. However, I would like to emphasize and would like to note, in order to continue to succeed, we must assess the situation very honestly and realistically, at the same time being independent in our conclusions and of course believe in ourselves. This is very important. We're mighty people and can cope with any challenge. Like our ancestors, we will solve any problem. This is evidenced by the entire 1,000-year history of our country.